It was 9 years since we first detected the interesting archaeology on the hill. This is a landscape filled with prehistoric remains from the Stone Age up to the Iron Age. We've been excavating not only the houses on the hill, but also graves and roads and other parts of the landscape.
This site is fantastic. We have an incredible complex situation, beautiful context, fantastic artifacts. But more than that, what we're really interested in is really documenting the relation between artifacts, context, and try to reconstructing or identify patterns between of those.
My name is Björn Nilsson and I'm a project leader of the Västra Vång excavations. I'm a researcher from Lund University. We've been excavating together with Blekinge Museum for many years now. Right behind me I have the landscape of Johanneshusåsen. This is not only one site. This is a landscape filled with prehistoric remains from the Stone Age up to the Iron Age. We've been excavating not only the houses on the hill, but also graves and roads and other parts of the landscape. Together with my colleagues, we've tried to form a new type of archaeological project where we involve not only archaeologists but also geologists, sociologists and of course the people living in Blekinge. Together with the Blekinge Museum we hope to create not only a fascinating archaeological project but something totally new for the Blekinge area.
Det är lite klent, men det är det plötsligt händer det. Vi har ju fragment som har kommit i den här jordhögen som är jättespännande. Jag menar, då kan det ju vara 100 gånger man får göra så här och den 101:a gången smäller det. Det är ju...
My name is Andreas Svensson. I'm working at the Department of Arkeology, Lund University. And my special interest here is the different kinds of metalworking that's been going on here on the various sites around Vång. I've been participating in the project for 3 years now, since 2017. And I know that this area is well known for the gold finds that we have, the gold foil figures and golden rings and so forth. But there's actually various kinds of metalworking that has been going on in this milieu. Everything from iron production to iron smithing to CO alloy casting and also the working of the gold foil figures with the stamps in copper alloy and the gold foils.
Okay, so now we're standing here on the hill and we've been excavating for almost 1 week and we're starting to get down to the very interesting layers. Right behind me we have both Bertil and Axel. They are continuing down to the floor level of the house. And as you can see, there are not only floors, there are also stones. So it's a bit of a complicated place right now, but I think during the coming days we will be much more confident in what we actually have. The interesting thing is of course that in all this soil, in the very soil where Bertil and Axel are excavating, it's many of these small gold foil figures. So they are part of the youngest period on this place.
Nej, det är för lite för att säga något av den. Den har inga tydliga fötter. Det kan vara huvudet också förstås, men det är svårt att säga.
Det kan ha fötter på djur.
Ja, det är...
Är det den gula pricken där?
Precis.
Är det också en liten guldgubbe? Kan man misstänka det?
Nej, det är en guldgubbe, det är inget snack.
Hur känns det då när man hittar något sånt här?
Ja, så visst. Det är ju väldigt speciellt. Liksom. Det är ju lätt att man det är ju viktigt att liksom hejda sig och inte då liksom göra en grop och plocka upp det, utan att se till att det blir att den liksom håller sig till att liksom också gräva ut, att liksom fortsätta arbeta med jordlagren, inte med föremålen, för att liksom, vi behöver ju få en uppfattning om hur omgivningen där den är nedlagd ser ut, för att liksom, det är ju tolkningsramen för när vi ska lyckas förstå de här. Så.
Du menar att de som har placerat den där kan ha gjort det av en orsak just där?
Ja,
att det är viktigt för er dokumentation också, att ni vet var någonstans ni hittat?
Ja, precis. Nej, men precis. Och i vilket sammanhang, i samband med vilken jord och vilka konstruktioner. Säg att det liksom dyker upp saker här som vi inte har, som i någon senare säsong, så behöver vi ha en uppfattning om hur den här ligger i relation till det. Det kommer ju säga oss väldigt mycket. Så man får lägga band på sig lite, för det är lätt att man får lite guldfeber såklart när man hittar något sånt där.
Man vill gärna gräva upp den delen av livet. Ja.
Där är något spännande där. Ja. Vad berättar det? Är det alltså att den nedgrävningsmannen gör så?
So yeah, this team working here on the Vång project, they're really interesting because they are sort of at the forefront of some new methods, and that means that they're developing new ways to visualize what they know and to talk about what they know to very different audiences. They do a lot of work with community archaeology here, so that means they're always in contact with a lot of volunteers, with study groups that work with them and help get the work done here on site. But then they're also working with scientists from all different disciplines. I think there's probably people here from about 5 disciplines today. So I'm here to learn a little bit more about what they do and maybe to help out and carry heavy things.
Men det som är trevligt med den här typen av forskningsgrävningar, det är att när man hittar någonting och visar det för de här experterna som ofta kommer till de här platserna, då från Lunds universitet eller från andra ställen, andra forskare liksom inom arkeologi, så visar man ett sånt här, som det här treuddsspännet som vi hittade då i fredags. Ett smycke. Och det genast kommer det liksom 3 stycken såna här proffs då och ger en liten föreläsning, miniföreläsning. Vad det har varit, hur man har använt det, tidsperiod, hur det kan ha sett ut. Och idag är det ju så modernt då med de här moderna telefonerna, så då googlar de fram att så här såg det ut med guldförgyllning och så här, och det har hittats där och där. De bjuder så enormt mycket på sig själva.
Ja, det är vad arkeologer kallar för ett treflikigt spänne. Och de treflikiga spännena är ju från början beslag som fanns i vapenutrustningar, framförallt i det frankiska riket på 700-800-talet. Och då hörde de till krigarnas utrustning. Sen kommer formen över till Skandinavien och då gör vi om dem till kvinnosmycken. Och det här hade en väldigt rik ornamentik i det vi kallar för borrestil. Och Borre är efter en fyndplats uppe i Norge. Och den här stilen daterar spännet till ungefär sent 8, tidigt 900-tal. Det vill säga mitten av vikingatiden.
Ja, det är ju helt underbart.
My name is Nicolò Dell'Unto and I work at the Department of Archaeology and Ancient History at Lund University. My research focuses on methods and theory, and for this reason my role here is actually testing new methodology for documentation and in general for archaeological practice. We believe very much that technology can be a big plus in archaeology, allow us to achieve or doing things which were absolutely impossible to think before. The use of sensors like a normal camera, digital camera, allow us to have very high resolution 3D models. We combine GPS or total station to have accurate positions of anything we want, but we also actually use UAVs or drones which can be equipped with sensors of different kinds. And these allow us to really look at the landscape and also at the site in the landscape in a completely new light. In specific, we can have, for example, 3D high-resolution model of the surface and then investigating the morphology of the ground and really achieve a lot of knowledge Or, for example, we can use sensors which allow us to see behind the normal spectrum and see. This means we can actually spot information which are not visible with the normal RGB or the normal vision that we have. And this is something which was absolutely science fiction 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Today is absolutely part of our training as archaeologists. Our students are trained to use all this, and it's fantastic because this shows that the discipline is really going for a direction which we couldn't foresee a few years ago. In order to actually have the best documentation we can, we are using different techniques. In specific, we are combining photogrammetry, which is a technique based on the use of images taken from different perspectives in order to reconstruct in 3D and in very high resolution the 3D, the excavation, small artifacts found in situ, and everything actually is in the pictures. Moreover, these 3D models actually are measured with instruments which allow us to locate the 3D model in a correct spatial positions. What does mean that? It means that if we, for example, have trenches excavated across different years, in the future or in the present, we will be able to compare all these and actually look at how different archaeologists across different years actually they excavated the site, and this is a big advantage for us.
I am collecting photographs of this section of the trench here. We've recently just found another gold goober. So the gold foil is down there, so we just scraped evenly across the entire context. And since we found a find and we're going to remove it, it's a good time to take the photo of everything. And once these photos are all compiled, I'll also take some close up around the foil, so we have a very high resolution 3D model we can make from the photographs we're taking right now.
Yes, that was what I was watching. You had a certain pattern that you walked around and you took a photograph and then you stepped aside.
Yeah.
Can you tell us why?
You have to have, when you're doing, it's called photogrammetry, or structure from motion. And when you're doing this type of data acquisition, you require about at least an 80% or a 60% overlap on your photographs. So I don't want to take too large of steps, but you don't want to do too small either, because then you're excessively collecting data. So it's sort of a nice fine line of trying to get in that 60 to 80% range of overlap on each photo you take. And from those it will find matching points, and it's able to sort of like triangulating a GPS location type thing, but in full 3D. And then from that you can make a 3D model. So some weird science on the back end there. But
It is very difficult to predict how actually this will turn in a few years. And as I say, 5 years ago we couldn't expect of this. But what we can say is that, in my opinion, we can see more and more inclusion into our interpretation of different typology of intelligence, like, for example, artificial intelligence. This also means, for example, having the possibility of including more and more other disciplines using this technology, because we could actually have the possibility of the perspective of specialists focusing in a completely different fields, entering into the interpretation process. So it's very difficult to say how it will be in the future, but I can only be thinking positively about it. It's going to be a great surprise, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good one.